It was a gray, drizzly morning in the small town of Maplebrook when 11-year-old Emma sat at the kitchen table, staring at the slice of bread in front of her. Her mom, a nurse who worked long night shifts, had left early again, and her dad was out fixing fences on a nearby farm. The kitchen felt too quiet, the kind of quiet that made Emma's chest ache. School started in an hour, and her lunchbox sat open, empty, except for a juice box and an apple that looked a little bruised. She sighed. "Just another plain sandwich," she muttered. "Same as every day." Her mom usually made her peanut butter sandwiches when she was home, but this morning, Emma was on her own. She rummaged through the fridge, leftover chicken, a tomato that was starting to wrinkle, half a cucumber, and a jar of mustard. Nothing exciting. Then she spotted something bright on the top shelf, a few slices of red, yellow, and green bell peppers, chopped for last night's salad. Their colors gleamed even through the misty morning light. An idea began to shimmer in her mind, small but cheerful, like the first glint of sun after rain. She grabbed the peppers, some lettuce, a slice of cheese, and the tomato. As she layered them, red, orange, yellow, green, on the bread, she smiled. "It's like a rainbow sandwich," she said softly. When she finished, the sandwich looked vibrant, almost magical compared to the dull gray world outside. She wrapped it carefully and tucked it into her lunchbox beside the apple and juice box. For the first time that morning, she felt a little excitement about the day ahead. At Maplebrook Elementary, lunch hour usually buzzed with chatter and laughter, but for Emma, it was often a quiet affair. She was the kind of girl who liked books more than basketball, and sometimes that made her an observer rather than a participant. She sat at her usual spot by the window, unwrapping her rainbow sandwich. The colors shone even brighter under the fluorescent lights, and she couldn't help but smile again. "Whoa," a voice said beside her. "What's that?" Emma looked up to see a boy she didn't know very well, Liam, from the grade above hers. He was holding a plain bologna sandwich and looked curiously at hers. "It's, a rainbow sandwich," she replied shyly. "I just made it this morning." He blinked. "A rainbow sandwich? That's awesome. It looks like something from an art project." She laughed softly. "You could make one too. It's just veggies and cheese." Liam wrinkled his nose. "Veggies? Yeah, I don't think so." But then, as he glanced at her smile and the cheerful sandwich, something changed in his expression. "Actually," he said, "it does look kinda cool." At that moment, another classmate, Zoe, came over with her lunch tray. "What are you two looking at?" she asked, peering over. "Oh wow. Emma, that's so colorful." Emma felt a small glow in her chest. People were noticing her, not for something strange or wrong, but for something bright and happy. "Want to share?" she asked suddenly, surprising even herself. Zoe hesitated. "Really? Are you sure?" Emma nodded. "Yeah. There's enough for us all to have a bite." She cut the sandwich into small pieces, and soon the three of them were laughing over how crunchy rainbows tasted better than they looked. By the end of lunch, the idea had spread like a cheerful rumor. "Emma made a rainbow sandwich," someone said. She shared it with everyone. The next day, 3 other kids brought sandwiches with colorful layers, some with carrots, others with beets or red cabbage. Soon, lunchtime at Maplebrook Elementary was a burst of colors. Even the lunch lady noticed. "What's going on with all these rainbow sandwiches?" she asked with a laugh. "It's Emma's idea," Zoe said proudly. "Rainbow sandwiches make people happy." Emma blushed but smiled. She hadn't expected something so small to catch on. Yet each day, more and more students joined in. The cafeteria looked like a field of flowers in bloom, reds, yellows, greens, purples, between slices of bread. But not everyone found it easy to join in. One day, as Emma sat down, she noticed a boy sitting alone at the far end of the table. He was new, she'd seen him around the playground but never with anyone else. His name was Noah, and his clothes were worn, his backpack old and patched. He unwrapped a single slice of plain bread with nothing inside. Emma's heart squeezed. She recognized that feeling, the emptiness of sitting alone. She picked up half her sandwich and walked over. "Hey," she said gently. "I'm Emma. Want to try some rainbow sandwich?" Noah looked up in surprise. "You're giving it to me?" "Yeah," she said, sitting down beside him. "It's better when you share." He hesitated, then took a small bite. His eyes widened. "It's good," he said softly. "Really good." She grinned. "Told you. Rainbows taste happy." From that day on, Noah started sitting with Emma, Zoe, and Liam. They shared lunches, stories, and laughter. Emma began bringing extra veggies and bread from home so she could make rainbow sandwiches for anyone who didn't have one. Then, one chilly afternoon in November, Emma's mom got sick. Her shifts at the hospital had been long, and she'd caught a bad flu. With her dad working double hours, there wasn't much food left in the fridge. Emma packed her lunchbox with just an apple that morning, hoping no one would notice. At school, she sat quietly while others unpacked their rainbow sandwiches. She tried to smile, but her stomach growled loudly. Zoe frowned. "Emma, aren't you eating?" "Oh, I'm not very hungry," Emma lied, closing her lunchbox. Liam looked at her, then at his sandwich. He didn't say anything, but a moment later, he pushed half of it toward her. "You helped me like veggies," he said. "Now it's my turn to share." Zoe did the same, breaking off a piece of her sandwich. Even Noah handed her a small packet of crackers from his bag. Emma blinked hard, her throat tightening. "You guys, you don't have to." "We want to," Zoe said simply. "That's what you taught us." They all sat together, sharing food and laughter. The cafeteria buzzed around them, but at that table, something felt magical. The next morning, as Emma walked into school, she noticed something incredible. On the kindness board by the main hallway, someone had written in big, colorful letters, "Be a rainbow sandwich, share a little color every day." Below it were drawings of sandwiches filled with rainbows, hearts, and smiling faces. By the end of the week, the whole school had joined the kindness wave. Kids who had extra snacks began sharing them with those who didn't. The cafeteria staff started keeping a kindness basket filled with fruit and bread for anyone who forgot lunch. Teachers noticed more smiles and fewer lonely corners. One day, Principal Hayes called Emma to his office. She felt nervous as she walked in, wondering if she'd done something wrong. But when she saw the wide grin on his face and the art-covered bulletin board behind him, she relaxed. "Emma," he said warmly, "do you know what you started?" A lot of sandwiches," she guessed. He chuckled. "More than that. You started kindness. Real, simple kindness. Because of you, students are taking care of each other. You reminded us how good it feels to share." He handed her a small certificate that read, "The Kindness Spark Award. For spreading color and compassion in our school," it said. Emma felt her cheeks flush. "Thank you," she said softly. "But it wasn't just me. Everyone helped." "That," the principal replied, "is exactly why it's so wonderful." That evening, when she got home, she showed the certificate to her mom, who was still recovering but smiling proudly. "A rainbow sandwich, huh?" her mom said with a laugh. "Who knew lunch could make such a difference?" Emma shrugged, smiling shyly. "I guess kindness tastes better when it's colorful." Months passed, and the Rainbow Sandwich Project became a yearly tradition at Maplebrook Elementary. Every spring, students brought in bright, healthy ingredients to make rainbow sandwiches for the local shelter. They made hundreds, each wrapped with a small note saying, "Made with kindness." The first time Emma helped deliver them, she felt her heart swell as she watched people smile and say thank you. Some even laughed when they saw the cheerful colors between the bread. "Looks too pretty to eat," one man joked. "It's supposed to make you smile first," Emma told him. Years later, when Emma had moved on to middle school, the tradition lived on. New students learned about the girl who made the first rainbow sandwich and how a simple act of kindness had brightened their whole town. And every once in a while, on a gray morning, Emma would open her lunchbox to find a sandwich her mom had packed, layered with red, yellow, and green peppers, just like that first one. She'd smile to herself, remembering how a few slices of color and a bit of kindness had painted her world brighter than any rainbow ever could. One spring day, now a little older and taller, Emma volunteered at the community center where her mom helped serve free lunches. She saw a small boy sitting alone, poking at his plain sandwich. She recognized that look, the one she once had. Without a word, she took her own colorful sandwich, sliced it in half, and offered it to him. "Want to share a rainbow?" she asked kindly. The boy looked up, surprised, then smiled shyly. "Sure." And in that small moment, two people sharing something simple yet full of warmth, the rainbow grew a little wider, stretching quietly across hearts rather than skies. Because sometimes, kindness doesn't need grand gestures or perfect words. Sometimes, it's just a sandwich, layered with color, love, and the promise that even the smallest acts can make the world a little brighter.